أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي قصرت عن رؤيته أبصار الناظرين وعجزت عن نعته أوهام الواصفين الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين وبالقاسم محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى وقوله الحق وهو أصدق القائلين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وكونوا مع الصادقين صلوات بجماعة السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. This is the 6th majlis in this series of majalis that we've been having under the topic of Sifatul Muttaqeen, using heavily from that khutbah of Amir al-Mu'mineen in Nahj-ul-Balagha, known as Khutbah Muttaqeen number 193. And before I get into the discussions for tonight, as far as some of the sifat that we would like to discuss, I'd like to personally apologize for going over my time last night. I may have gone 15-20 minutes over the time that has been given to me, and therefore I apologize, and hopefully inshallah it will not happen. I will try and be within the time that has been given to me. The ayat that I started reciting is from Surah Tawbah, verse number 119, where commonly recited ayah, if you want to speak about the concept of, sidq or taqwa, you use this ayah. Or in general, whenever there's a discussion in reference to the wiladat or a shahadat of a ma'soom, you may hear this ayah to be recited as well. And thus far, amongst the attributes that we had covered, there were many things as far as muttaqeen are concerned and how they are separate. And we can see a difference between ourselves and those Amir al-Mu'mineen considers to be muttaqeen. Him being Imam al-Muttaqeen definitely understands who are those muttaqeen. And therefore, if we want to be the follower of that Imam, make sure that we are at that place in taqwa as far as taqwa is concerned. So yesterday, the discussion where we stopped was in reference to the 16th and the 17th attribute of muttaqeen, where Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam in this segment speaks about muttaqeen in this way: Sabaru ayyaman qasira aqabathum rahatan tawila. The muttaqeen are those who show patience for ayyaman qasira, for a few days. And what do they attain after showing and displaying patience for a few days? He says, aqabathum rahatan tawila. In consequence, they secured comfort for a long time. So there's a prophecy from our Imam, is that showing patience entails that there will be comfort that is coming right after it. And there's so many stories in this reference that you can find in Quran. But best of the stories that Allah Himself considers to be best of the stories is the story of Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. Now from the very beginning of this surah, there's few features of this surah which obviously is not part of my discussion, but I'll just explain because we're going to be utilizing the concept of sabr from it, that stand out as far as other stories are concerned. Other stories are discussed sporadically in different places. So you find the story of Hazrat Adam in Surah Baqarah, in Surah Al-Imran, and even in the other surahs as well. Look at the story of Hazrat Musa, which is more widely discussed. You find it all over the place. You find the story of Hazrat Isa all around Quran. But this is one story that you find from the very beginning till the end in one place, right? All in this one chapter known as or named after this prophet whom it is discussing regards to. So therefore this is one feature of this surah. Secondly, we see that how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala begins this surah. Nahnu naqussu alayka ahsanal qasas. We are relating to you the best of the stories. The one that Allah considers to be the best of the stories. Now there must be some features of this story aside from what we have heard thus far that stands out, that tells us that this story is outstanding and ahsanul qasas in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore you look at what is it that being discussed in this surah. The gist and the only place where you find in Quran the two concepts that are mentioned together. The discussion that we've been having from the very first night regarding taqwa and the qualities of muttaqeen, which we have reached today. One of the qualities is sabr. The only place that you find in Quran that these two qualities are mentioned together is in this surah. It says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that the one who is muttaqi and the one who does sabr, inna Allah la yudiyu ajra al-muhsinin. Innahu man yasbir, innahu man yattaqi wa yasbir. Those who do show taqwa and those who show patience, innahu la yudiyu ajra al-muhsinin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not overlook the reward of those who are the doers of good. So, in the perspective of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, muhsinin are those who are the doers of good. Obviously, that's the translation. But who is a doer of good? You look at the previous ayah, it says, man yattaqi wa yasbir. The one who has these two qualities with them are considered to be doers of good. Not the person who's accumulating as far as good deeds are concerned. For example, ibadat is concerned. For example, wajibat are concerned. For example, mustahabbat are concerned. For example, charity is concerned. All of the other things that a person is doing, if this person is lacking taqwa and sabr, then that action in abundance will not be considered an action of a muhsin that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala considers. So whether your actions are in abundance or little, man yasbir wa yattaqi, man yattaqi wa yasbir, if these two qualities are put together, then yes, this is a person in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who's what? A doer of good. So make sure that we are able to establish these two attributes to us. So it is ahsanul qasas. Why it is ahsanul qasas? So many ups and downs in this surah. That from the very beginning, the brothers of Hazrat Yusuf are jealous of his affection and attachment to the father. So they wanted to go ahead and do what? Kill him. فَقَالَ قَائِلٌ مِّنْهُمْ لَا تَقْتُلُوا يُوسُفَ وَأَلْقُوا فِي غَيَابَاتِ الْجُبِّ. One of the brothers said, don't kill him. He's after all our brother. Let's just throw him into the well. At least we haven't killed him. So we're not criminals from that aspect. So he's thrown into the well. That's one musibat. Just imagine a child of that age thrown into a well. That's a musibat. And then when he's brought out by some caravans passing by, brothers show up again. And they sell him. Bakhsin darahima ma'aduda. With what? With cheap money, they go ahead and do the sauda and sell Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salatu. That's another musibat. So he's bought as a slave. And then he's taken to another city, another country, and he's sold as a slave. Then he has to protect his chastity. We discussed that last night. That is again another musibat for him. where he says, Rabbi, inni ahabbu sijin, that I prefer sijin, a prison, over what these people are plotting against me. That is another musibah. But he finally finds comfort in this prison that he's there for many, many years. He's able to do the propagation. He's able to bring the light to the people. He's able to do their tarbiyat, create a jamaat with him, whom he what? Does the tarbiyat and nurtures. So he finds some solace over there. But then again, the story starts again when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestows upon him and makes him to be the finance minister of Misr of that time, Aziz Misr, who was responsible for, the finances, for taking care of the, wealth and taking care of the food, because there was, famine over there. And so he deals with people and all that. People from all around the world are coming, close by obviously, to get. Amongst them are brothers as well. He recognizes the brother. He keeps the younger brother with him, Binyamin, and he recognizes the brothers. And then one day when they came back, he asks them that, do you know ma fa'altum bi Yusuf? What did you do to Yusuf? Right away, the brothers, they suspected that who would have the knowledge of that? Unless that person himself is a Yusuf. Anta Yusuf? Are you Yusuf yourself who's asking this question? He said, yes, ana Yusuf. Wa hadha akhi. Yes, I am Yusuf and this is my brother, Binyamin, whom you had left with me. Right away they were terrified. And they started complaining and they started praying and they started, asking for, showing their apologies and whatnot. He said, don't worry about it. Al-yawm la tathrib. I'm not going to take revenge from you. I'm not going to reproach you for what you have done. Just wanted to bring this as a reminder. So look at the sabr that Hazrat Yusuf ﷺ has shown throughout what he went through in his life. And on top of that, look at the sabr of an older father who has shown in the form of Hazrat Yaqub ﷺ, to which Quran says, فَصَبْرٌ jameel. Not just any sabr, not just any common patience. The firaq of his son who has the wilayat is being separated from him for many, many years, yet he shows what? فَصَبْرٌ jameel. The Quran calls it to be a sabr, not just an ordinary sabr, but a sabr which is jameel, which is praiseworthy, which is beautiful. And therefore, Hazrat Yusuf also says the same thing, that indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala favored us. And then he says, مَن يَتَّقِي وَيَصْبِرْ فَإِنَّهُ لَا يُضِيءُ أَجْرَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Whoever does sabr and whoever shows taqwa, indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not waste the ajr of those who are the doers of good. So there are so many examples of this sort that you find in Quran. I just wanted to share this one example, which all of us to an extent know the story. We have read it many times in Arabic translation of it. Even you may have seen the movie which has been made regarding Hazrat Yusuf. So you know well actually what happened in entirety. Therefore you see the two, father and the son, yes, ma'soom, but at the same time the amount of patience that they have, and coupling that patience along with taqwa gives you the formula of those who are muhsineen. Salawat Biji Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. There's some echo in it, if you can just lower that a little bit. Sallu ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Obviously, there's been so much discussion regarding sabr that I'm not going to go in the details of further about it. Alhamdulillah, inshallah, we are amongst those who are sabireen. And, the story of Hazrat Ibrahim and Hazrat Ismail, where the concept of sabr also comes into play. All those stories are in front of you. These stories are there for what reason? They're there for us to go ahead and develop this trait of sabr in us as well. Thus, Amirul Mu'mineen counts it to be one of the great features of muttaqeen. And therefore, if you want to be amongst those who are muttaqeen in the sight of Amirul Mu'mineen, then sabr is something that you have to have. Because muttaqeen are those, فَصَبَرُوا أَيَّامًا قَصِيرًا. When they do sabr for ayyam qasira, aqabathum. What is the result of it? They find comfort for a long, long period. And that is the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That you may be struggling right now, may be going through a difficult time right now, but if you show patience and sabr, and you deal with sabr at this moment, then definitely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not waste this ajr of yours that is pending upon him because you're showing such patience. And that's why in Quran it says, وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ. Seek assistance from sabr and salat. Someone today was telling me after Jummah that Maulana, one of my friends said to me that recite Surah Fatiha. So I recited Surah Fatiha. One of the brothers of Ahl Sunnah that his friends are, he said, ask me to recite Surah Fatiha. And I recited. When I got to the ayah, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ, he stopped me. He said, look, you recite this ayah so many times that only you we worship and only you we seek assistance from. Then why do you go ahead and say, for example, Ya Ali Madad, or you seek assistance and you ask tawassul from ghayr khuda? What is the jawaz of doing that? This is something which, alhamdulillah, all of our children, I'm sure younger adults growing up, adults listening to the majalis, they have a very good answer for this. But if you wanted a rebuttal, you wanted an answer from Quran, you can go ahead and recite this ayat from Surah Baqarah. This was in Surah Fatiha, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. You can go ahead and recite this ayat from Surah Baqarah right after that. If the person makes you recite these ayat, you make them recite this ayah which says, وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ. That the same Allah who's saying that it is only you we worship and it is only you we seek assistance from, is the same Allah who's saying what? وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ. Seek assistance from sabr and salat. Sabr and salat are ghairullah. Yes, may not be an individual, but they are ghairullah. So why is it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us himself to go ahead and seek assistance from something other than him? So all in all, the result is no. This salat and this sabr, which is translated as fast in many of the riwayat, are done for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. With this means you can go ahead and ask from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is the same thing when it comes to awliya Allah, when it comes to those who are chosen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Man irtada, as the ayat of Surah Maryam says, that they have the concept of intercession, they have the ability to intercede. In fact, we go to the extent that some riwayat mention that even a person, if he reaches a certain level, then that person will also be given the concept of shafa'at so that he can also bring others along with him. And as we recited it in the very initial majalis as well, amongst the barakat and the blessings of this majlis azah of Sayyid al-Shuhada, one of the barakat is that your wajibat, the maximum result of them, that you can attain paradise, right? But the barakat and the blessing of this majlis azah and tawassul to Sayyid al-Shuhada is not only that paradise is given to you, but you're able to bring others along with you as well. Following that, Imam says, أَرَادَتْهُمْ دُنْيَا فَلَمْ يُرِيدُوهَا وَأَصَرَتْهُمْ فَفَدُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ مِنْهَا. The world aimed at them, but they did not aim at it. It captured them, but they freed themselves from it by a ransom. That the concept of how dunya comes after you. And muttaqeen are those who are able to come out of the trap that dunya sets up for them. Aradathum dunya. They did not ask for world. They did not intend this world, but the world intended them. Look at the words of Amirul Mu'minin. Aradathum dunya. The world is aiming at them and is trying to set a trap for them, but they don't want anything to do with it, and they're able to free themselves by giving some sort of ransom. You know how, as far as I am concerned, or people like me are concerned, this is something which we go after the world, and we ask for it, and we want it. The irada is from us for this world. So the discussion is not regarding a person like me who's asking for this world and who's going after this world. The discussion is those individuals who have purified themselves so much that the world is seeking them. And therefore we find that story that you may have heard, and if you haven't, then it'll be something new for you, but if you have, then I apologize in advance, of one of the scholars. You know, a lot of time I heard from one of the scholars that we give examples of masumin, and then we give example of ghayr masum. You say, well, what is the reason of giving example of ghayr masum in a majlis azah, which is for masum? Aren't there any examples of masum for us that we have to go ahead and refer to ghayr masum to make a point? A lot of time when we give the example of masum, we hear this example, we feel good about it, and at the end we say and conclude, oh, they were masum. Because they were infallible, so, they were able to do this. And so obviously we're not infallible, so it'll be very difficult for us to go to follow suit. No, that's why we go ahead and give example of غير معصوم, just like individuals, you and I, who are able to do these extraordinary things. So therefore you find some sort of inspiration that yes, the door is open for me as well, and I am also capable of doing such a thing. So there was a man by the name Sheikh Murtaza Ansari. He was a ustad of Hawza Ilmiya, 150 years ago or so. And one of his famous books is Makasib, which is taught in Hawzat al-Ilmiya. Every faqih that you see today in the world must have read this book or taught this book in order to become a mujtahid. That's how important this book is, which is taught in Hawza Ilmiya at a certain stage when you reach there, not initially, but obviously after having gone past a few things, then you go ahead and study this book, which is a very difficult book in essence itself. And therefore he wrote this book. He was obviously marja taqleed of his time. He was the faqih of the time. He had the wujuhat al-shar'i, which means he had the zakat and the khums in his possession. And so imagine, there's not a bank system at that time, 150, 200 years ago, and a lot of the wealth was kept obviously, in houses. And when you have something sitting with you, it is obviously very tempting. It could be tempting when a person is غير معصوم. So it could be tempting to anyone. So the story goes that one of his students who saw a dream, then he came back next morning to ask his ustad the interpretation of that dream. And obviously we know that the story of Hazrat Yusuf revolves around what? Dreams. That he had ta'wilur ru'ya, ta'birur ru'ya, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given that ability. So that he goes ahead and does the ta'wil and interpretation of the dream of those two who were inside the sijn and the prison with him, as well as the king of the time, which basically got on him there. So therefore, this person, he sees in a dream that he sees shaitan with different types of ropes. Small, big, short, long, large, everything. And he sees that there's a rope which is the strongest of the ropes and the longest of the ropes, but it's broken. He said, who's that rope? Whose rope is that for? He said, this is for Sheikh Murtaza Ansari. He said, why is it broken? He said, because I tried to lure him into doing something, but I wasn't able to do so. I pulled him as much as I could, but he broke away, and therefore the rope is broken. So out of curiosity, this man asked, which one of these ropes are for me? He responded, I don't need a rope for you. I just call upon you and you come running towards me. Case like a person like me, that we go after the world. The world doesn't really need to come after us. So shaitan does the same thing. There's so many people that I don't really need a rope for them. I just point towards them and they come running at me. And that's why shaitan will be raising his case in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment. Then when people will be saying, this shaitan is the one who misled us, what will he respond by saying? فَلَا تَلُومُونِي لُومُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. Don't blame me, blame your own selves. There was a call from me and there was a call from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You just said labbaik to my call and you disregarded the call of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَلَا تَلُومُونِي. Don't blame me, blame your own selves. So then he wakes up and he goes to his ustad the next morning and he says, was there some incident that happened last night with you? He said, yes. He said, do you want to share what happened? He said, why? He said, I saw a dream so-and-so. I saw a dream, I saw shaitan, he had a rope which was broken, and he said, it's specifically your name. He said, last night I was in need of some money for some illness or maraz that I had or someone in my family had. I didn't have any money on my own, and I was in need of money. And I had all of these wujuhat al-shar'i, the khums and zakat money with me, which isn't going anywhere, it was just sitting there. So I thought to myself, then let me go ahead and grab some from it, use it tonight because I'm in need of it, and then when I have it, I'll go ahead and put it back in there. I kept on going back and forth, should I do it or should I not? At the end, I decided not to take anything from that money, and alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provided the cure to me. He said that is the reason that shaitan was trying to pull you with that rope. He went so close that you were able to, you were almost there, but you pulled away, thus that rope was broken. So this is an example of somewhat an ordinary person who, yes, became an alim, became an ayatullah, marja, taqleed, faqih and whatnot, but it still holds the same, fallibility as you and I do. And therefore he's able to defeat shaitan in this way. Dunya intended him, but he ran away from this world. Salawat bheji Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So the extreme love of the world is one of the strong chains of shaitan. And therefore, worldly wealth and the fear that comes along with it. There was an arif. Arif is a mystic. Sometimes it's translated as Sufis, but more so the mystics, those who do, a lot of meditation, and with the ilm, with shuhud and observations, they reach certain levels. And it is something which is, again, within our reach. It's not something which is only for certain individuals. No, within our reach. And a lot of time when people enter Hawza Ilmiya seminaries, they want to study irfan. The first chapter, first lesson, first topic, first subject, they choose irfan. And so because that's something which really attracted me toward Islamic knowledge, and therefore I want to learn and study Islamic mysticism. It's good that something attracted you and you became a talib ilm, but to start from Islamic mysticism is probably not the best idea. Because it's something which requires years of tadreeb, years of tamreen, years of progress before you get to a level where you're able to perform this. The start of Allama Tabatabai, Qadi Tabatabai, someone came to him and he said, I want to learn Sayru Suluk, in Farsi obviously. And he said this, I want to learn Sayru Suluk. Sayr is the journey, Suluk, wayfarer towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said to him that go ahead and have good suluk with your family first and then come and learn Sayru Suluk. Apne ghar walon ke saath acha suluk karo, phir aana Sayru Suluk seekhne ke liye mere paas. So therefore, you have to make sure that the vessel is ready. The body that we're bringing for this service is ready. No matter how clean the water is, but if the vessel is polluted, no matter how clean the water you pour into this vessel, it will be polluted as well. So you won't want to drink from it. Therefore, the cleansing is required. The internal purification is something which is needed. So this arif, and so the pagham and the message for those who want to attain ilm deen and start from, basics and go your way up. Don't jump for the mysticism right away, because you can read the books in your language and try and understand that. One of the urafa of our time, Allama Hasan Zadeh Amuli, he actually does not even allow his tapes to be public, his speeches to be public, especially those of his lectures. He said because someone would listen to it and they may actually be misleading to them. They may hear something that I have said, because they don't possess the knowledge of it properly, they haven't gone through a proper channel of studying mantiq and falsafa and then coming to irfan, it could be misleading to them. So don't make my lectures public. I gave example of Imam Khomeini last night. He was a poet as well. One of his famous poetry, the couplets that I usually recite, that he says, Man be khali labe tu e dost giriftar shudam. چشم بیمار تو رو دیدم و بیمار شدم. Very romantic poetry by Imam Khomeini. We didn't expect that from him. Man be khale lab to, the mole on your lips, at those giriftar shudam, has, occupied me. I looked at this mole on your lips and I'm occupied, I'm possessed by you. چشم بیمار تو رو دیدم و بیمار شدم. I saw your drowsy eyes, that as if you are ill or sick, I became sick myself. It's a very romantic ash'ar from someone who's a faqih and arif and whatnot. No, these are irfani ash'ar. Khal means something else. Mole means something else in irfan. Lips means something else in irfan. Eyes refer to something else in irfan. And this is purely speaking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this way. So there is irfan that is sitting in it. Now, it's not a lecture of irfaniyat that I'm giving, but I'm saying those who want to study, don't jump into irfan initially. Rather go step by step before you get to that level. So some of the teachers, they don't even allow their lectures to be published like that. So this Arif, he was traveling and he had a sack of bag with money with him, and he was traveling. He said, as I was traveling, on the way I started feeling fear that there might be bandits that may come and take what I have with me. And so out of this fear and terror that he could not continue his travel and he had to go a long way, he threw away the sack. He threw away the bag of money that he had. I'm not giving anyone any ideas over here, just trying to give an example. So he threw away the bag of money. He said, as soon as I threw it away, there was this peace and comfort in me that I was walking without any fear. Because I wasn't fearful of myself. I was fearful of that money that I had with me, that people will come and steal it from me. And therefore, that was bothering me. The moment I threw it away, there wasn't any fear in me, and I was walking with comfort. And there was someone who was coming behind me who saw this bag and picked it up. He reached me and he said, is this path safe? Aren't any looters, bandits on the way? He said, if the bag that I threw away is with you, then this is not safe for you. But if you're not carrying anything with you, then this path is as safe as you want to be, and there's nothing to worry about. So a lot of time what happens, the possessions of the world, they bring about this fear into us and they terrify us. Salawat bheji Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So we gotta be careful. Imam says in this particular segment of this khutbah that aradathum dunya. The world asked for them, went after them, but they were the ones who were able to stay away from it by giving some ransom. So in this case of this Arif, getting rid of this money was a ransom for him to go ahead and find peace and comfort so that he can walk along easily. And therefore it does not matter, and we're not specifically speaking in reference to the worldly possessions that we have altogether. And there's no denying that without it you can't survive. Nobody wants you to become a beggar. Nobody wants you to go ahead and start asking from the people. That is even the worst. Socrates was asked, what is worst? Is there anything worse than death in this world? He responded by saying, yes, when a Kareem asks from a La'im for something. So you remember that Imam Hussein on the day of Ashur is standing in front of Lu'ama, the La'im, the worst of the mankind, in the form of Shimr, in the form of Umar Asad, in the form of Hurmula, asking for what? Water for his 6-month-old. He said, this is the worst, even worse than death. When a Kareem ibn Kareem, such as Sayyid al-Shuhada, is asking from La'im. So therefore, don't get into that situation. Obviously, that was a different situation which Imam was in, and that was also to set an example and to go ahead and highlight the characters of these individuals as to how much they were blinded with what they were promised for. They were promised, governance. They were promised a piece of land. They were promised fame. They were promised wealth, and that fame and that wealth and that piece of land, that property misled them so much that they're willing to kill anyone that comes in that path, even an individual such as the grandson of the Holy Prophet, Imam Hussein ibn Ali, alayhi salatu wassalam. So this segment of khutbah points out this important reality that the world aimed at them, but they did not aim at it. It captured them, but they freed themselves by giving some sort of ransom. So how much are we going to let this world let us sink into it? How does a person think about this world? How much is he going to let it sink as much as gharq, जिसको हम कहते हैं, अपने आप को गर्क होने देगा इंसान कितना इसमें? How much are you going to let yourself sink in it? What is the lifespan that you have brought with you? When this question was raised to the Holy Prophet, he responded by saying, Mali wa dunya, innama mathali wa mathalu dunya ka mathali raqibin. Look at the example that the Holy Prophet is giving. What is it to me in this world? My example and this world is like this raqib, this rider, who is marra lil qaylulati fi dhill shajaratin, who passes by under a tree on a hot summer day for a qaylula. Qaylula is a very short nap that you take. ثُمَّ رَاحَ وَتَرَكَهَا. After taking some rest, this person leaves. This is my example of this world. That, it's an example of a person who's riding and on his way, he's tired. He sees the tree. There's some shadow under the tree. So he sleeps there, does a qaylula, a short nap, wakes up, and then he moves forward. Because you're not going to be here forever. So therefore, don't let it sink in that much. There was a man in the time of Hazrat Isa alayhi salatu wassalam. Hazrat Isa saw him from far distance. He looked at him, that this man on the middle of hot day, he was worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was praying. So Hazrat Isa went to him, with an advice that, you can find some shadow somewhere, or you can build a house for yourself. Do you not have a house? Go pray over there. Why are you standing in this sun which is beating down on this hot summer day, and you're doing the ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Allah does not want you to go through such difficulty. You can do the ibadat in comfort as well. You don't have to go through this difficulty. But some of the ibadat, you actually have to face the difficulty of it. You can't go ahead and do hajj, let's say in winter, comfort of your house. So you have to go through the difficult part of it to go ahead and perform it in a land where it has to be done, normally where it's very hot, and the difficulty that you endure when you're there. So you can't just go ahead and do it when you want, for example, in your own country. So Hazrat Isa told him, the salat, you can pray under a shadow if you have a house, inside your house. This man responded by saying that I met Anbiya, and they told me that I will not live more than 700 years. Obviously, at that time, people had very long lifespan. So they told me that I'm only going to live around 700 years. And I thought to myself that it is not enough time for me to go ahead and inhabit myself in this world and build a house for myself. Because 700 years is not very long time to go ahead and settle down in certain place. Hazrat Isa was muta'ajjib. He turned around to him and he said, should I inform you of a time, Akhirul Zaman, where the lifespan would not be over 100, yet people will build forts for themselves and mansions for themselves as if they weren't going to live there forever. This man said, if I lived in that time where the lifespan was only 100 years, I will spend the entire 100 years doing sajda of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Obviously, these are stories for us to what? Nobody's expecting us to spend entire life doing sajda, but just an example to understand how sometime this life that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us, we think that it is forever and we're never going to leave this world. Salawat bi Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I'm rushing through some of these discussions from Amirul Mu'mineen. The attribute number 16th and 17th that he mentions, وَأَمَّا اللَّيْلِ فَصَافُونَ أَقْدَامَهُمْ تَعْلِينَ لِأَجْزَاءِ الْقُرْآنِ يَتْلَوْنَهَا تَرْتِيلًا. That during the night they are standing on their feet reading portions of the Quran and reciting it in a well-mannered way. So one of the attributes of the pious that Imam is mentioning over here, the knowledge and the great virtues of this knowledge that they realize, which makes them do what? Which makes them stand up at night to do ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ibadat is done all throughout the day. There's so much discussion that has already been done in the past 5 nights. I won't go into the details, but our 6th Imam mentions in this reference that standing up at night is different than standing up during the day. And Amirul Mu'mineen did not give the example of standing up during the day, rather he gave the example of standing up at night. Because when a person stands up at night, he stands up only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is quite possible when you stand up during the day, it may not entirely be for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the khulus is there when you're standing up at night, when there's nobody around you in your surrounding who is watching, so that you can go ahead and impress them that, look, I'm standing up at night time. And obviously, night time is the best means to wusul of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. 11th Imam, Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salatu wasalam said that inna al-wusula ila Allah safarun la yudrikuhu illa bi intita'il layl. That reaching Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this journey cannot be undertaken except at night time. One of the features of this night time is that which comes out from you comes out with sincerity and khulus. You can get up in the morning to perform the Salatul Fajr. You're by yourself. Look at the concept that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. Even when you're doing it individually by yourself, you still end up saying, Na'budu wa nasta'een. What na'budu? What nasta'een? You're standing by yourself. You're all alone. And you're saying, we worship you. Who we? You're alone. We seek assistance from who we? You're alone. The concept of jama'at, which is being given even when a person is standing by himself. So the benefits of congregation that entail this sawab and this prosperity and the blessings that come along with it. And therefore, there's so much fruit in as far as Jamaat is concerned. And leaving the Jamaat, the damages that come along with it. You hear something from someone said something ill-advised to you, and it turned you off. You say, well, I'm not coming to masjid anymore. I'm not coming to Imam Barga anymore. People spoke to me in that way. I'm breaking away. You're not announcing that you're breaking away, but I'm not coming anymore. Guess what? You're going to be hurting yourself only. You're going to be disconnecting yourself only. You're going to be isolating yourself only, because there's a place where you can benefit a great deal. Even if you don't speak and understand what is being said from the member, by bringing your children and spending a few hours over here sitting in this gathering, where our belief is Masumeen are also present, where our belief is infallibles are also present, is going to definitely have an impact on the children that you're bringing. And even if you're not looking at it from that perspective, that our iman hasn't reached that high, at least the 2 hours that you brought them over here, you kept them away from the worldly things. So at least there's a benefit that is associated with this congregation. So keep that mind in perspective next time when you have an option to listen to online or listen in person. Make sure that you're able to utilize the option of coming here in person, sitting in Jamaat, getting the blessings from the gathering itself, and performing this ibadat in congregation. Because there's more virtue of an ibadat performed in congregation than individually. There's no guarantee the ibadat that you've done individually is accepted. The salat that we perform, there's so much naqs and there's so many defects in it. Do you know? Is it accepted? But the same ibadat, if done in Jamaat, standing behind an imam and doing this ibadat, even if there was naqs in it, by virtue of it being in Jamaat, there's acceptance of it. So right away you say, Salawat Biji Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So the person who delays their salat, but for the reason of attaining Jamaat, that person is praised. But if you're delaying without any reason, Shaykh Tusi says this person has indeed committed a crime. It is indeed a sin and has committed a crime. How quickly and easily we go ahead and commit this crime, unless there's a valid reason behind it. And there are valid reasons that have been given by fuqaha. If that did not enable you, then that's okay. But if there isn't any, and you still go ahead and delay it, then you have committed a crime. And there's obviously no kafara for it. You still have to do the qada, but you have committed a sin as far as that is concerned. It is as if you're saying this, that you have a meeting with, someone who's higher in rank. Getting this meeting slot was the most difficult thing for you, and now finally you have the time that has been given to you. Are you going to be late to that meeting? No, you're going to arrive ahead of time, because this person is very difficult to meet. This head of a state is very difficult to meet. This imam is very difficult to meet. This marja is very difficult to meet. So because I've been given a time that 9 o'clock be there, I'm actually going to get there 15 minutes ahead of time. Or this doctor, is very difficult to get an appointment from this doctor. Finally, I got an appointment. After a couple of months of waiting, I'm not going to miss out on this opportunity. So when it comes to the appointments of this world, how punctual we are most of the time. But when it comes to mulaqat with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how reckless we are sometimes. And therefore we don't realize the worth of it, because it is what? As-salatu Mirajul Mu'min. Salawat Biji Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And the last attribute for tonight, inshallah, will conclude in reference to that Imam says that they recite the ayat of Quran in the best possible way. A lot of time we see and we hear and think, we look at those who memorize the Quran, huffaz of Quran. We didn't really used to have any hafizin or hafiz of Quran in our madhab. But then, alhamdulillah, there was this rujhan towards it. And now you have thousands and thousands of hafiz Quran within your madhab tashayyu. This was something which we used to be, taunted for, mocked by people that, you guys don't do hifz. And obviously the response was that not only if we don't do hifz, but at least we understand it. What good is this hifz if you don't understand what this Quran is saying? Now we, alhamdulillah, have enough huffaz within our own circle that we can take pride. Yes, we do have hafizin of Quran. And therefore, not only that we mock those who did hifz the Quran, we don't do it ourselves either. We don't recite it, and those who are reciting and those who are memorizing it, we go ahead and mock. But when we look at the seerah of Imam Hussain, that from the very beginning, Imam is utilizing Quran every step of the way. When he meets the governor of Medina who invites him and brings him in, asks him for the bayat, Imam ﷺ utilizes the ayat of Quran by saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Quran, وَلَا تُطِعْ مِنْهُمْ آثِمًا أَوْ كَفُورًا. Don't pay allegiance to someone who's athim, who's a sinner, and kafura, who's a disbeliever. How do you expect me to pay allegiance to someone like this? So Imam utilizes Quran. That is the reason when you recite the ziyarah, what do you say? Assalamu alayka ya sharik al-Quran. That Masumin are what? They are partners and sharik in Quran, because they are Quran natiq and this is Quran samit. Then when Imam leaves the city of Medina and begins this journey of his, he makes this dua using the ayat of Quran, Rabbi najjini min al-qawmi al-zalimin. Allah, protect me from this zalim and unjust qawm of yours. And therefore Imam is utilizing the ayat of Quran. Fourth Imam was the same way. He, in this beautiful hadith, he says, لَوْ مَاتَ بَيْنَ الْمَشْرِقِ وَالْمَغْرِبِ. If everything was to perish between Mashriq and Maghrib, East and West, لَمَسْتَوْحَشْتُ, I will not have one bit of terror, بَعْدَ أَنْ يَكُونَ الْقُرْآنُ مَعِي, if as long as Quran was with me. If everything perished in the world from East to West, I will not feel one bit lonely and terrified as long as the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was with me. And that's how Masumin look at Quran. And Imam did not end it over there. Even when Imam ﷺ, he was raised on the spear. When he was martyred, before the martyrdom, on the night of Ashur, when Umar Asad throws the first arrow to begin this marika, Imam sends Hazrat Abbas to go ahead and get permission for one night, or in words of some ulama, give them permission for one more night to think about what they're about to do. And then Imam gave a reason, that inni uhibbu salat wa tilawat al-Quran, that I want to spend this night performing the ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and spend this night in the recitation of the Holy Quran. And when Imam was martyred, you see, when his head was taken along from one city to another, Imam was reciting the ayat of Quran even from the top of the spear. So his life was embodiment of Quran. All of the Masumin, their lives were embodiment of Quran. And this is something which you cannot take away from them. I mentioned it last night as well, reference to this, that they are Quran samit, Jita jagta Quran ka subut. Therefore, how do you expect them to be away from it? For one reason or another, we may be away from it. But this household always kept Quran in their perspective. And they dealt with it in that way. They understood it. They read it, they understood it, they pondered, and they contemplated, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells and condemns those who do not do that. But yet, those who are Quran, that was Quran Samit, which was raised on the spears in the battle of Siffin. Now you see in Karbala, Quran Natiq is raised on the spears. That the heads of Imam and his companions are raised on the spears. Musibat has begun. The Masaib have started. And where to begin? Whose example to give? There are so many people that converted, at that moment, it was a time for them to make this decision. You may have heard of the name of Wahab. They sometimes mention there are two Wahabs, Wahab ibn Wahab, Wahab ibn Abdullah. Both of them are mentioned, but some say, well, there was only one, who was originally not even a Muslim. And Imam helped him and he converted, and he came to Karbala with his mother and his newly wed wife. Only 17 days has passed since he got married. And look at the jazba and look at the enthusiasm that he shows. کس طریقے سے اپنے آپ کو آمادہ کیا ہے. ابھی تو میں معصومین اور ان کے گھرانے کی مثال نہیں دی آپ کے سامنے کہ جس کی آج شہادت کی معمولاً ہم مصائب پڑھتے ہیں، انشاءاللہ اس طرف بھی میں آؤں گا، لیکن وہاب کی مثال صرف دیتے ہوئے آگے بڑھوں کہ ان اصحاب کا زیادہ تذکرہ نہیں ہوتا ہے. یہ ہو گئے زہیر ابن قین ہو گئے، اور اس کے علاوہ دوسرے جو امام کے اصحاب تھے جو 72 میں شہید ہوئے، 72 میں جن کے جو شریک ہیں، ان کا تذکرہ بعض اوقات نہیں ہو پاتا ہے. وہاب ایک عجیب و غریب شخصیت کہ جب وہ جاتے ہیں مقتل کی جانب اور اپنا جہاد دکھاتے ہیں تو سامنے والے کو یہ کہنا پڑ گیا کہ کیا طاقتور اور کیا مہارت والا آدمی ہے کہ جو اس طریقے سے بڑھ بڑھ کے حملے کر رہا ہے. لیکن صرف یہی نہیں تھا ایک جذبہ امام حسین کی خاطر آنے کا. اور آپ کہیں کہ شاید خواتین میں شاید یہ جذبہ نہیں تھا، نہیں. وہاب کی ماں وہ ماں ہے کہ جس کا جذبہ بیٹے سے بھی بڑھ کے تھا. اگر بیٹے میں کچھ لغزش آ رہی تھی تو ماں نے پڑھ کے کہا تھا نہیں جاؤ آگے پڑھو. اگر کسی اور وجہ سے کہ ابھی 17 ہی دن ہوئے شادی کو کیے ہوئے، اس کو کچھ اور تذبذب تھا تو ماں نے ہی اس کو حوصلہ دیا اور اس کو آگے بڑھایا. اور پھر یہ وہی ماں تھی کہ جب وہاب کے سر کو کاٹ کے پھینکا تھا خیمہ گاہ کی طرف تو اس ماں نے اس تازیانے کو اپنے ہاتھ میں اٹھایا اور سر کو ہاتھ میں لے کر کے واپس دشمن کی جانب پھینکا اور کہا کہ جو چیز ہم نے راہ خدا میں دے دی اس کو ہم واپس نہیں لیتے. یہ مثالیں ہیں ماؤں کی جو شاید ساری زندگی مسلمان بھی نہ تھیں. یہ ایگزامپلز ہیں ان لوگوں کی جن کے بارے میں ہم کہہ بھی سکتے ہیں کہ مثلا کردار کے حوالے سے شاید اتنے اونچے بھی نہ ہوں گے، لیکن جب یہ اس طریقے کے ہیں تو پھر ان لوگوں کی مثالیں کیا ہوں گی آپ کے سامنے، یہ جیسے جناب زینب ہو گئیں، وہ مائیں کہ جو اپنے بچوں کو ساتھ لے کے آئی ہیں. میں کہوں گا کہ بچے تو بچے تھے، شاید ان کے اندر اتنا شعور نہیں ہوا کہ ہمیں کیا کرنا ہے، حالانکہ ان کے اندر پورا شعور تھا. لیکن ماں تو سمجھدار ہے، اپنے لال کو کس طریقے سے بھیجے. ایک ماں کا دل رکھتی ہے. مائیں جو آتی ہیں یہاں پہ مجلس اعضاء میں بیٹھتی ہیں، مثالیں میں اکثر دیتا ہوں کہ کس طریقے سے ہم اپنے بچوں کے بارے میں پروٹیکٹیو ہیں. یقیناً علی کی اولاد ہیں، آل علی ہیں، آل عقیل ہیں، آل ابی طالب ہیں. یقیناً وہ جذبہ بچوں کے اندر موجود ہے تو یقیناً ان کے اندر کوئی لغزش نہیں ہے. لیکن ماں کس طریقے سے اپنے آپ کو اس طرح آمادہ کر سکتی ہے کہ بچوں کو بھیجے مقتل کی جانب. اور یہ مثالیں کئی ہیں، بس 2 جملوں میں آپ کی زحمت تمام. ان میں سے ایک خاتون جناب زینب ہیں کہ جناب زینب نے جو کردار کربلا میں پیش کیا ہے شریکت الحسین کا، کہ جب حضرت علی اکبر کی شہادت واقع ہوئی تھی جو کہ ایک بہت بڑا زخم ہے امام حسین کے اوپر، اس کو کس طریقے سے جناب زینب نے اس زخم کو امام حسین کے لیے آسان کر دیا. جناب زینب اتنے زور سے گریہ کیا کہ سب کی توجہ زینب کی طرف ہو گئی، امام حسین اپنے غم کو خود بھول گئے. یہ فلسفہ تھا جناب زینب کا، گریہ کرنا حضرت علی اکبر کے اوپر. اور دوسرے فلسفے بھی تھے کہ حضرت علی اکبر سے جو جناب زینب کو ایک لگاؤ تھا، کس طریقے سے ان کو پال پوس کے جوان کیا تھا. لیکن جب اپنے بچوں کی باری آئی، جناب زینب نے کیا کہا تھا؟ اے بیٹوں، کل جب تمہاری باری آئے گی تو میں چاہتی ہوں کہ تم میرے سر کو سرخرو کرو. میں چاہتی ہوں کہ جب تک تم لوگ زندہ ہو تمہارے امو کے اوپر، ماموں کے اوپر کوئی آنچ نہ آنے پائے، تاکہ میں اپنی مادر گرامی جناب فاطمہ الزہرا کو اپنا چہرہ دکھا سکوں، تاکہ میں یہ کہہ سکوں کہ میں نے گریہ بھی نہیں کیا اپنے بچوں پہ اور میں نے حسین کو سب کے اوپر ترجیح دی ہے. کس طریقے سے یہ پیغامات بچوں میں القاء کیے ہوں گے جناب زینب نے۔ بس وہ وقت آ گیا، وہ گھڑی آ گئی۔ روز عاشور جب ہر ایک کی باری آنے لگی اور لوگ آتے تھے امام سے اجازت طلب کرنے کے لیے، امام کے لیے کتنا سخت ہوتا ہوگا کہ کسی کو مرنے کی اجازت دے دیں۔ ہاں جاؤ، مرنے کی اجازت دی، ہاں جاؤ تم جا سکتے ہو، مرنے جا رہے ہو نا، جاؤ جا سکتے ہو۔ کس قدر مشکل رہا ہوگا۔ اور پھر اس سے بڑی مشکل ان لوگوں کے جنازے کو اٹھانا، ان لوگوں کے لاشیں کو اٹھا کے واپس خیمگاہ تک لانا، وہ اور بڑی مصیبت امام حسین کے لیے رہی ہوگی۔ لیکن جب سارے اصحاب نے اپنی جانیں نثار کر دیں، جب سب قربان ہو گئے، کوئی یہ کہہ سکتا تھا کہ امام نے اپنے گھر والوں کو پیچھے رکھا، پہلے اصحاب کی شہادت پیش کر دی۔ نہیں، پہلے جو گیا اس کے لیے اور آسانیاں ہو گئیں، چونکہ 3 دن کے بھوکے پیاسے سب کے سب تھے۔ جو جس قدر جلدی شہادت کے جام کو نوش کر رہا تھا اس قدر اس کے لیے آسانیاں تھیں، جو جتنا دیر سے جا رہا تھا اس کے لیے اتنی ہی مشکلات تھیں۔ لہٰذا امام نے اصحاب کو پہلے جانے دیا۔ اس کے بعد سے بنو ہاشم کی باری آتی ہے۔ جب بنو ہاشم کی باری آتی ہے تو ان بچوں کا تذکرہ ملتا ہے کہ جن کے نام اون اور محمد ہیں۔ آپ دیکھیے کہ وہ لوگ جو خود کربلا نہیں آ سکے، انہوں نے اپنے فدیے بھیج دیے کہ ہم قربان نہیں ہو سکتے تو کیا نا ہماری اولاد ہی قربان ہو جائے۔ جناب زینب کے بارے میں لکھا تھا کہ جہاں جہاں حسین جائیں گے زینب ہمراہ جائیں گی، کہیں یہ نہیں لکھا تھا کہ جہاں جہاں زینب جائیں گی وہاں بچے بھی جائیں گے۔ حضرت عبداللہ چاہتے تو بچوں کو رکھ سکتے تھے، روک لیتے کہ بھئی زینب کو جانے کا حکم ہے نا، ہاں زینب جا سکتی ہیں حسین کے ساتھ، میرے اور محمد کو رہنے دو۔ لیکن حضرت عبداللہ نے یہ فرمایا کہ اگر میں حسین پہ اپنی جان نہیں قربان کر سکتا تو یہ فدیے حاضر ہیں، میرے بچے حاضر ہیں کہ جا کے حسین کے اوپر اپنی جان کو نچھاور کر دیں۔ انسان جب کسی مشکل میں پڑتا ہے تو پہلے بچوں کا خیال رکھتا ہے، اگر کوئی ڈینجر ہے آگے، خطرہ ہے آگے تو انسان خود جائے گا، بچوں کو نہیں بھیجے گا۔ لیکن حضرت عبداللہ کو دیکھیے کس طریقے سے بچوں کو بھیج دیا، کیسے دل پہ پتھر رکھا ہوگا۔ بس وہ وقت آتا ہے، اور یہ فدیوں کی مثالیں آپ کے سامنے بہت ہیں۔ ام البنین کی مثال ہے کہ اپنے 4 فدیے بھیج دیے۔ امام حسن کی مثال ہے کہ قاسم کو تیار کیا تھا، وہ دن آئے گا کہ میں نہ رہوں گا لیکن تم کو اپنی جان قربان کرنی ہوگی۔ یہ فدیے بہت ہیں کربلا میں۔ بس اون و محمد تیار ہو گئے، جناب زینب نے بچوں کو آمادہ کر لیا، سمجھ بوجھ رکھتے ہیں، بہت چھوٹے بچے بھی نہیں ہیں، انہوں نے جنگ بھی کی ہے، ان کی جنگ کی تعریف بھی سنی ہے، کس طریقے سے انہوں نے جوہر دکھائے ہیں۔ جناب زینب نے یہ بتا دیا تھا کہ ماں کی جانب سے تم حیدر کرار سے تعلق رکھتے ہو، باپ کی جانب سے جعفر طیار سے تمہارا تعلق ہے، ہر دو طرف سے شجاعت ہے، ہر دو طرف سے بہادری ہے، اس بہادری کو دکھا دینا، بتا دینا دنیا کو کہ حیدر کرار کا خون بھی ہے، جعفر طیار کا خون بھی ہے۔ کس طریقے سے یہ 2 بچے گئے ہیں، زینب نے ان کو تیار کیا ہے، اس طریقے سے مقتل کی جانب رخ کیا ہے، کافی دیر تک محاذ کرتے رہے، فضا آتی رہیں، زینب کو بتاتی رہیں کہ اب بچے یہاں پہ ہیں، اب وہاں پہ ہیں۔ ایک دفعہ فضا نے آگے کہا اب بچے فرات کے نزدیک ہیں، زینب نے اپنے آپ کو مصلی پہ بٹھا دیا، اے خدا میرے بچوں کو ہمت دینا، کہیں پیاس کے آن میں آ کے پیاس کو نہ بجھا لیں، پانی نہ پی لیں، ابھی الاتش کی آوازیں بلند ہو رہی ہیں، ابھی اور چھوٹے بچے پیاسے ہیں۔ زینب مصلی پہ بیٹھ کے یہ دعا کر رہی ہیں، پھر اس کے بعد سے فضا آتی ہیں، زینب اون اور محمد واپس آ گئے ہیں۔ زینب نے پلٹ کے کہا ارے میں نے ان کو واپس آنے کے لیے نہیں بھیجا تھا، میں نے کہا تھا جاؤ، میں حدود نہیں بخشوں گی جب تک مولا پہ قربان نہ ہو جاؤ گے۔ کہا اے بی بی ذرا آ کے تو دیکھو کہ بچے کس حالت میں پلٹے ہیں۔ ایک دفعہ زینب آئی، کیا دیکھا؟ آن اور محمد کا لاشا پڑا ہوا ہے۔ الا لعنۃ اللہ قوم الظالمین۔ سيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون۔ بار الہ ہماری سے بات قبول فرما، گناہ گار ہیں درگزر فرما، ہمیں اہل بیت علیہ السلام کے نقش قدم چلنے توفیق عطا فرما، ان کی تعلیمات پر عمل کرنے توفیق عطا فرما، امام کے ظہور میں تعجیل فرما، ان کے اعوان انصار میں شمار کر۔ ربنا تقبل منا انک انت السمیع العلیم، ماتم حسین۔